Hey everyone, so you hear about the metaverse all the time, right? Brands are sinking billions of dollars into it. But is it actually working? Today we're diving into a fascinating new study that looks at the travel industry and asks a pretty simple question. Can being in the metaverse actually make a brand cool? Let's get into it.
I mean, this is the big question, isn't it? Every marketer is wondering about this. You've got airlines, hotels, you name it, building these massive virtual worlds. But does creating a digital version of a beach resort really give a brand that special something, that coolness? And maybe more importantly, does being cool online actually make people open their wallets in the real world? So to figure this out, we're going to walk through exactly how the researchers did it. We'll start with the big question they were trying to answer, then look at the classic ideas they built on. After that, we'll see the nuts and bolts of their experiment, unpack what the data actually said, and wrap up with why all of this really matters. All right, first things first, what's the core mystery here? Well, with companies spending so much money and effort to plant their flag in the metaverse, researchers really wanted to know if this huge investment is changing how we, the consumers, actually feel about them. And you've got to understand, the stakes are massive. This isn't some tiny little niche market we're talking about. The metaverse is on track to be worth almost $1 trillion by 2030. So yeah, figuring out what makes people tick in this space isn't just a fun academic exercise. It's absolutely essential for business. So the researchers really boiled it down to three key questions. One, what is it about the metaverse experience, how real it looks, how new it feels, that makes a brand seem cool? Two, does that cool factor actually translate into someone wanting to book a hotel or buy a plane ticket? And three, does it matter how much you love to travel in the first place? Does that change anything? Okay, so where do you even start with a question like that? Well, great research never happens in a vacuum. The scientists built their study on some really solid existing ideas. Let's take a look at the concepts that acted as their guide. So first, they needed a solid definition for brand coolness. And this is important. It's not just about what's trendy this week. In this study, coolness is this mix of being seen as one of a kind, genuine, and just looking good. It's something we all kind of decide on together as a society. Now, to connect the dots between a metaverse feature and a customer's action, they used a classic model from psychology. It's called the stimulus organism response framework. It sounds complicated, but it's really simple. An external stimulus, like a cool virtual world, causes an internal change in an organism, that's you, which then leads to a R response, like buying something. And here's exactly how they put that framework to work. The stimulus, that's the metaverse experience itself, all its cool features. The organism, that's the feeling it creates inside the consumer, that perception of, hey, this brand is cool. And the response, well, that's the ultimate goal, the desire to actually spend money and use the brand. Simple but brilliant. Okay, so we've got the what and the why. Now it's time for the how. This is where we get a peek behind the curtain to see how the researchers actually designed their study to get answers they could trust. They had a super clear three-step plan. First, they built a detailed online survey, but they didn't just make up questions. They used scales that had been tried and tested in other scientific studies. Next, they found 346 people in India who had actually used metaverse travel apps. And finally, they took all that data and ran it through some heavy-duty statistical modeling to see what patterns emerged. And who were these 346 people? Well, the group was mostly male, and they were very well educated. We're talking over 93% had a university degree or even higher. This is a really important detail because it tells us a little bit about who's pioneering these virtual travel experiences right now. All right, this is the part we've all been waiting for, the results. After all that careful planning and data collection, what did they actually find out? And here it is, the main headline, straight from the research paper. It was a total slam dunk. Every single feature they looked at, how vivid it was, how innovative, immersive, interactive, and new it felt, all of them had a major positive effect on how cool people thought the brand was. Turns out the metaverse really is a coolness engine. So let's break that down. First, vividness. Basically, the more realistic and detailed the virtual world was, the closer it got to feeling like the real thing, the cooler the brand seemed. So those high-quality graphics and little details, they really matter. Next up is innovation. And this one kind of makes sense, right? When a brand is using the latest, greatest tech and giving you an experience that feels like it's from the future, you see that brand as being cool and modern. Being a tech leader definitely pays off. Then you've got immersion and interactivity. It's not enough to just look at a virtual space. You have to feel like you're actually there. That feeling of presence, plus being able to touch things and interact with stuff, that's what makes it feel real and authentic, and in turn, makes the brand way cooler.
And last but not least, novelty. It's pretty simple. Being different is cool. Brands that gave people experiences that were unique, surprising, or just plain unexpected were the ones that really stood out. It's that, wow, I've never seen that before factor.
Okay, and this is where the rubber meets the road. All these factors add up to make a brand feel cool. But it's not just about a vibe. The study proved there's a direct, powerful connection between people thinking a brand is cool and their intention to actually spend money with that brand. So being cool isn't just for show, it actually drives business.
But here's where it got really interesting. The researchers found that how much you already love to travel acts like a volume knob for all of this. For people who are super passionate about travel, the high-involvement tourists, the Metaverse's power to make a brand cool is turned way up. And for them, that coolness has a much bigger impact on their decision to buy. For the more casual tourist, the effects are still there, but the volume is just a bit lower.
So, what does this all mean? Let's tie it all together. What are the big takeaways from this research for any company trying to find its way in this new virtual world?
The advice for brands is pretty clear. You can't just throw up a basic virtual storefront and call it a day. You have to invest in high-quality, interactive, and innovative experiences. The real goal is to create something that feels unique and genuine. And if you want the best bang for your buck, you should target those super passionate, tech-savvy travelers. It's not just about building a virtual place, it's about building a cool community. Now, any good scientific study will be honest about its limits, and this one is no different. This research was just a snapshot at one point in time. All the data was based on what people said about themselves. And since the participants were all from India, the results might be different in other parts of the world. This is great, though, because it shows us where more research is needed. And that leaves us with one final big question to chew on. This study gives us a fantastic blueprint for what cool means in the metaverse right now. But as these virtual worlds get more and more tangled up with our real lives, the very idea of what's cool is going to change. What will it even mean to be authentic and appealing when the line between what's real and what's digital gets blurrier and blurrier? That's the question we're all going to have to figure out next.